Chosen one, stop for a moment. Not because the world demanded it, but because God did. Out of all the noise, all the motion, all the urgency pulling at your life, heaven pressed pause right now. Not to frighten you, not to overwhelm you, but to get your attention before something precious was misunderstood, before something sacred was rushed, before you moved forward carrying confusion instead of clarity. This moment was intercepted, orchestrated, assigned. You've been moving with questions in your heart and weight on your spirit, smiling on the outside while quietly wrestling inside, trying to discern what's next while still healing from what was. And you wondered, why does it feel like everything suddenly slowed down? Chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe, like, and comment Amen if your spirit is already responding. Because this message is about to speak directly to you, not to strangers, not to coincidence, but to the part of you that's been asking God for direction in the dark. When God pauses everything, it's never random. It's investigative. It's intentional. Light is being shined where shadows have lingered. Truth is being separated from assumption. Purpose is being refined before the next step is revealed. You've survived unseen battles with doubt, delay, betrayal, and silence. You kept moving even when understanding lagged behind obedience, and heaven watched closely. This is the moment of recognition. The reason your spirit feels alert right now is because this message didn't chase you, it found you. Something in you already knows this pause matters, that what you were about to decide, assume, or abandon needed divine correction. God is not stopping your progress. He's protecting your path. Chosen one, this is revelation rising. The pause is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God saying, wait, there's more I need you to see before you move. You've been strong for so long that you forgot you're also allowed to be guided. And now divine validation arrives. You are not behind, you are not confused, and you are not overlooked. You are being realigned. Heavenly timing is precise. When God interrupts your momentum, it's because the next step carries weight. Purpose requires accuracy, not speed. And what He's about to tell you will bring peace to questions you haven't even spoken out loud yet. So stay with me, chosen one. Breathe, listen closely. Because what's about to be revealed was worth stopping everything for. And once you hear it, you'll understand why this pause just changed everything. Chosen one, there are moments when momentum feels holy simply because it feels urgent. Your heart was racing ahead of your spirit. Decisions were lining up quickly. Doors seemed ready to open. And yet heaven stepped in. Not to block you, but to slow you. You were about to move too fast, and speed without clarity can quietly sabotage destiny instead of advancing it. God does not fear progress, but He protects precision. Urgency is loud. It pressures. It convinces you that if you don't act now, you'll miss everything. But divine direction is calm, even when timing matters. That's why God paused you. Not everything that demands immediate action is sent by heaven. Some things rush you because they benefit impatience, not purpose. Ask yourself, chosen one, how many times have you mistaken pressure for guidance? How often did movement feel right simply because it was fast? God saw something you couldn't yet see. He saw that clarity hadn't fully formed. He saw that your understanding was still unfolding. And instead of allowing you to step forward, half aware, He pressed pause. That pause wasn't rejection. It was protection. Because destiny isn't just about arriving somewhere. It's about arriving ready. There are decisions that cannot be undone once made. Paths that, once taken, require strength you may not yet have gathered. God knows this. That's why He intervenes before the step, not after the consequence. You weren't being slowed because you were wrong. You were being slowed because you were important. Heaven guards what carries purpose. Chosen one, consider this. If speed alone equaled progress, exhaustion would be success. But you've already lived that life, moving fast, carrying confusion, trying to fix things later. This time is different. This time, God is teaching you to value alignment over acceleration, to trust understanding over impulse, to let peace confirm direction. The pause gives space for investigation. It allows light to expose blind spots and shadowed assumptions. It gives your spirit time to catch up with your desire. And in that stillness, truth becomes clearer. You start noticing what didn't sit right. You begin hearing what was drowned out by noise. You recognize which doors were tempting but not assigned. So let me ask you, chosen one, can you honor the pause without interpreting it as delay? Can you trust that slowing down now prevents regret later? Because when God pauses your movement, it's not to cancel your destiny, it's to secure it. What's meant for you doesn't need rushing. What's aligned won't require panic. What's divine will wait until clarity arrives. Stay still just a little longer, because the pause you're in is shaping a future that won't need correction later. Chosen one, hear this with gentleness and gravity. Good intentions alone are not enough to move destiny forward. Your heart has always meant well. Your desire to do the right thing, to move, to fix, to advance. That part of you is sincere, but heaven is not driven by effort alone. It is guided by alignment. And before God advances a plan, He first adjusts the heart carrying it. You are ready to act, ready to step, ready to give your energy again. But readiness of action does not always equal readiness of spirit. God looks deeper than movement. He examines motives, expectations, and attachments, not to judge you, but to protect you. Because action taken from a misaligned heart can still lead to exhaustion, confusion, or regret, even when intentions are pure. Ask yourself this, chosen one. Were you moving from peace or from pressure, from clarity or from the need to prove something? Sometimes the heart wants to help, to build, to love, but underneath that desire is fatigue, unhealed disappointment, or the hope that action will quiet an inner ache. God pauses those moments not to deny your calling, but to realign your center. Alignment is subtle. It doesn't always feel dramatic. It often feels like conviction, reflection, or a gentle discomfort that won't go away. That's God refining why you move before He blesses where you go. Because when the heart is aligned, action flows without strain. There is no inner resistance, no second guessing, no emotional backlash afterward, only peace. This is why heaven prioritizes the heart. A misaligned heart can turn blessing into burden. It can turn calling into obligation. But an aligned heart carries lightness, even when the assignment is heavy. God adjusts the heart so the plan can advance without breaking you. Chosen one, you are not being held back. You are being centered. The pause is not about stopping your progress. It's about ensuring that when you move whole. God is gently removing urgency that comes from fear, expectation that comes from past wounds, and pressure that comes from comparison. He is restoring purity of intention. Can you feel it? That inner recalibration? That moment where you realize you don't need to rush, explain, or prove anything? That's alignment forming. And once it settles, action will come naturally. Not forced, not frantic, not draining. So let me ask you, chosen one, are you willing to let God finish this inner work before stepping forward? Are you willing to trust that stillness now creates strength later? Because when your heart and heaven move together, nothing is wasted. Stay open, stay honest. Alignment always comes before acceleration. Chosen one, let this land softly but firmly in your spirit. Something you have been carrying was never meant to stay with you this long. It may have begun as responsibility, as care, as concern, or even as love. But over time, it transformed into weight, a quiet burden you learned to live with. And now heaven has paused everything to tell you this simple, liberating truth. You don't have to carry it anymore. You've been strong for so long that strength became habit. You learned how to function while holding worry in one hand and duty in the other. You told yourself it was noble, necessary, yours to manage. But God sees deeper than appearances. He sees when responsibility turns into pressure, when care turns into anxiety, when guilt lingers long after its lesson has been learned. And He pauses you not to accuse you, but to release you. Ask yourself honestly, chosen one, what have you been holding that drains you more than it develops you? Is it a worry that keeps replaying in your mind, demanding answers you were never meant to provide? Is it a responsibility you accepted out of love, but never reassessed as seasons change? Is it guilt from a version of yourself that no longer exists? Sometimes we keep carrying things simply because we've grown used to the weight. God's pause is a divine interruption. It stops the motion long enough for truth to surface. And the truth is this: you have outgrown certain burdens. They served a purpose once. They shaped compassion, maturity, awareness. But now they limit movement, and heaven does not advance you while you're overloaded. This is where many people struggle, because letting go feels like failure. It feels like abandoning something important. But release is not abandonment when God initiates it. Release is obedience. It is trust. It is the willingness to say, if this is no longer mine, I will put it down. God does not ask you to carry what he has already decided to remove. Chosen one, notice how the pause created space. Space to breathe, space to question what's truly yours to manage. Space to recognize that some burdens stayed only because you never gave yourself permission to set them down. God is giving that permission now, not through force, through clarity. What if the worry you carry belongs to God's sovereignty, not your control? What if the responsibility you cling to belongs to someone else's growth, not your sacrifice? What if the guilt you replay belongs to a lesson already completed? These realizations don't come in chaos. They come in stillness. That's why God paused everything. This moment is not about weakness, it's about wisdom. Strength knows how to endure, wisdom knows when to release, and God is cultivating wisdom in you now. He is lightening your load so your steps become steady again. He is removing excess so clarity can return. He is freeing your hands so you can receive what's next. So let me ask you gently, chosen one, are you willing to put it down? Are you ready to trust that what God removes will not leave you empty, but unburdened? Because what you're releasing is not your identity, not your purpose, not your calling. It's the weight that no longer belongs to you. Stay still for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the shift. The pause wasn't random. It was heaven's way of saying, you've carried enough. Chosen one, this moment may feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, because everything around you has grown quiet. But hear this clearly and gently. This is not silence from God. This is silence for you, a holy quiet, a sacred interruption. Heaven has not withdrawn, it has drawn you inward. And that difference matters more than you realize right now. You are not being ignored, you are being insulated. God is intentionally turning down the volume of the world because too many voices have been competing for your attention. Opinions pulling you in different directions, expectations pressing you to move before you're ready, emotional noise disguising itself as urgency. And in the middle of all that sound, clarity could not reach you. So God didn't shout louder. He made it quieter. Think about this. Chosen one. When was the last time direction came to you in chaos? When did your deepest clarity arrive? In pressure or in peace? God understands that guidance cannot land on a restless heart. Revelation does not force its way through noise. It arrives when the soul is still enough to recognize it. That is why silence is the instruction right now. This season is not asking you to figure everything out. It is asking you to stop chasing every answer, to stop explaining yourself, to stop defending your pace, to stop reacting to every opinion that feels loud but carries no authority. God is removing the background noise so you can finally hear what has been waiting underneath it all. And yes, this can feel unsettling. Silence removes distractions, but it also removes comfort. Without noise, you're left with your thoughts, your emotions, your questions. But that is exactly where God begins his work. Stillness exposes what has been buried. Quiet reveals what has been ignored. And in that sacred space, alignment begins to form. Ask yourself honestly, chosen one, what voices have been shaping your decisions lately? Were they grounded in peace or pressure? Were they rooted in wisdom or urgency? God is teaching you discernment through silence. Not every voice deserves access. Not every opinion requires a response. Not every pressure deserves obedience. This is a waiting room, but not an empty one. Direction is coming, instruction is forming, timing is aligning. But before movement, God establishes stillness. Before words, He prepares the heart to receive them. Before clarity, He removes the clutter. Silence is not the absence of progress. It is the preparation for precision. Notice how different this pause feels compared to past delays. There is less panic, less striving, less need to explain. That's because this pause is intentional, not obstructive. God is protecting you from moving prematurely. He is shielding you from decisions that would sound right in noise but feel wrong in peace. Chosen one, don't rush to fill this silence. Don't distract yourself just to feel productive. Don't mistake stillness for stagnation. This is where sensitivity is sharpened. This is where intuition is restored. This is where divine direction becomes unmistakable. So stay here a moment longer. Let the noise settle. Let the pressure fall away. And ask yourself quietly, what is rising now that the noise is gone? Because what comes next won't need to shout. You'll recognize it, because it will arrive with peace. Chosen one, this is the moment where the path ahead stops responding to control and starts responding to trust. Up until now, your discipline, your awareness, your effort carried you forward. But what is coming next does not move by force, planning, or pressure. It moves by surrender. And that can feel unsettling when you've survived by staying alert, managing outcomes, and holding everything together with your own strength. You've learned to anticipate problems before they arrive. You've learned to prepare for disappointment. You've learned to adjust yourself so things don't fall apart. That skill protected you in earlier seasons. But now that same instinct is becoming a weight. God is gently showing you that control has reached its limit. Not because you failed, but because you've grown beyond needing it. Ask yourself honestly, chosen one, how much energy have you spent trying to make sure nothing goes wrong? How often have you replayed conversations that haven't happened yet, planned for losses that never came, or carried responsibilities that were never meant to be yours alone? Control feels like safety, but it slowly drains peace. Trust, on the other hand, feels risky, until you realize it restores what control quietly took away. What's coming next cannot be micromanaged. It involves people, timing, and outcomes that sit outside your reach. And that's not a threat, it's an invitation. God is not asking you to be careless. He is asking you to stop gripping what was never designed to rest in your hands. Some doors only open when hands are open, not clenched. This is where faith matures. Early faith asks God to bless what we manage. Mature faith allows God to manage what we cannot. And that shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens in moments like this, when you feel the urge to intervene, to control, to fix, and instead you pause, you breathe, you release. Not because you don't care, but because you trust God cares more deeply than you ever could. Notice how God hasn't removed responsibility from you. He has removed the illusion of control. Your role is still obedience, honesty, and presence. His role is outcome, timing, and alignment. When those roles get confused, exhaustion follows. When they're restored, peace returns. Chosen one, what if releasing control doesn't mean things fall apart, but finally fall into place? What if trusting God here doesn't delay the promise, but protects it? What if the very thing you're afraid to let go of is the thing blocking the breakthrough you've been praying for? This next season requires a softer grip and a steadier heart. Not passivity, trust. Not fear, faith. God is not asking you to disappear from the process. He is asking you to stop carrying the outcome as if everything depends on you. It doesn't. It never did. So let this be your quiet decision today. Not loud, not dramatic, just real. To release what you cannot control. To trust where you cannot see. To rest where you once strained. Because what's coming next is not fragile. It's guided. And it will meet you, not when you control it, but when you trust it. Chosen one, let this truth settle gently into your spirit. Pauses like this are not random, and they are not punishment. They are personal. God does not interrupt paths he is indifferent about. He pauses movement only where his hand is already involved. If everything suddenly slowed, stalled, or went quiet, it's not because you were forgotten, it's because you were being watched over with precision. Think about that for a moment. How many people keep rushing forward without resistance, without correction, without awareness? Speed is easy when there is no guidance. But when God is actively leading someone, he intervenes. He adjusts pace. He protects timing. He creates stillness when motion would cause harm. This pause is not absence. It is attention. You may have felt confused when things didn't move the way you expected. You may have questioned yourself, wondering if you missed something or did something wrong. But what if the slowdown wasn't about error at all? What if it was about care? A parent slows a child before traffic, not because the child is wrong for walking, but because the parent sees what the child cannot yet see. Ask yourself, chosen one, how many times has something not happening saved you from something worse? How many delays later revealed themselves as protection? God sees intersections you haven't reached yet. He sees conversations you haven't had, doors you haven't opened, consequences you don't yet know. And because he sees them, he pauses you. This is what divine attention feels like. It doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels quiet. Sometimes it feels frustrating. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening at all. But beneath the stillness, God is aligning details, adjusting outcomes, and keeping you from moving ahead of your own blessing. Notice this carefully. The pause didn't remove your purpose. It preserved it. You are not being sidelined. You are being safeguarded. When God watches closely, he moves intentionally, and intentional movement often begins with stillness. This pause is proof that you matter enough to guide, not just release into chaos. It means your next step carries weight. It means your future is valuable enough to protect from haste. It means heaven is involved, not watching from a distance, but guarding from up close. So instead of resisting the pause, breathe into it. Ask not, why am I stuck? But what is being protected right now? Ask not, why isn't it moving? But what is God preparing me for? Stillness sharpens perception. Quiet reveals instruction. Chosen one, delays belong to uncertainty. This moment is not that. This is divine supervision. This is God saying, stay here. I'm handling something ahead of you. And when the pause lifts, you won't move confused or anxious. You'll move with clarity, peace, and alignment. Because God does not pause what he plans to abandon. He pauses what he intends to guide all the way through.